All right. Tonight, we will be discussing a very important topic of the four pillars in soccer. When we ask, what are they? What are the four pillars of soccer? I like to think of the four pillars of soccer like the four pillars that you would have in a building. So think about a building, a structure, a physical structure. The four pillars that holds that structure together. It's what I want you to think about as we go through this presentation. In reality, in soccer, we call them the psychosocial or the psychological part of soccer, the technical part of soccer, the tactical part, as well as the physical part. Some people will say fitness. And as you can see on the bottom of this slide, there is a continuum at the bottom which links every one of these pillars together. Again, think about a physical structure with four pillars in them. All four of them are connected. And my hope is that at the end of this presentation, with some video clips, we'll be able to tie them all together in a game. And you could do that in a practice as well. In fact, all four of these should be present in your practice and certainly in the game. Okay, and you can see the list underneath there regarding each of these pillars, what it entails. We will discuss them in details as we go down this presentation. Let's start with the first one, the obvious one, technique. What is technique? One of the things I like to do each time I'm teaching this is to make sure I keep it simple. That way you can take my definition and use it along with whatever you already have in mind as to what technique is. So for me, technique is the how, is the body mechanics of performing a soccer skill. So now with that simple definition, you can define it your own way as long as it meets that simple how, the how to, the body mechanics. Okay. In your practice, you should be giving players the opportunity to develop this individual technique and ball mastering in every single practice. Okay, this could be done in a functional way, what we call functional training. And that's the realistic, putting players in the realistic positional role. So if you are training the number two in your team and you want that number two to have the technical ability to make passes over 20, 30 yards to the number 9 or to your number 6, you can do this by training that particular player in a functional training, small-sided, to make sure they master that particular technique. And of course, you can do this unopposed or you can do it in a scrimmage. Looking at this example of age and stages for technical continuum, you can see here that it starts from all the way from U5, from 5 all the way to 20-year-old players. And as the younger the players, some of the things you want to really work on as a coach are just the basic skills. Okay, ball and wall activities. Okay, letting the game be the teacher in most cases. Just let them play. And rotating players to make sure that they play all positions. Then, of course, as they get older, to the 10, to the 14, 15-year-old players, now you really are looking for some really good technical accuracies in terms of their execution and making sure these players understand the role in the team, their technical abilities. And you may be able to break that down into the attacking principles and defensive principles for those players. And of course, the older they get, then you are demanding technical proficiency at that time. And now you have to tie that technical proficiency with their decision making. Understanding what your strategy is when you are attacking and when you are defending. Not just in practice, but also in 11v11 game or in a small-sided game. Now, as we get to the video session of this presentation, you will see how they all tie in together, all four pillars. Tactics. What is tactics? Again, as you can see, I like to define things very simply. That way you can make up your own mind as to what it means to you. Tactics, decision making. For me, is the where, the when, and the why. Where am I with the ball or without the ball? When do I have to pass the ball? And why do I have to pass the ball? All those put together is what tactics is. Tactical decision. And players can get better doing this by putting them in a small-sided game functional environment. That comes from understanding the game awareness, and the player's ability to be creative with the ball or without the ball, and to solve problems on the pitch. Okay, this is not about the coach telling the players what to do. This is about the player be able to come up with their own solutions to problems on the pitch, with or without the ball. Psychological. Some would say psychosocial. I will break this down on the next slide in terms of the continuum. I will break it down into the social aspect and the psychological aspect. For now, let's look at psychological as a self-determination theory. Firstly, as a coach, you have to ask yourself, why are these players here? What motivates my players to be here today in this practice, in this game? So let's narrow it down to their intrinsic motivation. And for you as a coach, knowing that goes a long way. Goes a long way in helping you to build your team rapport. And building your team rapport also involves you having that coach and player relationship. Okay, we have seen games on TV where the relationship between the coach and the player cannot be denied, that it's very, very good. It's positive between them from the way they interact and respect each other. This also involves the player and the team relationship. How does the player act around his teammates? Does he or she respect his teammates? Okay, what about the player and the opponent relationship? How does that player behave? Does he show respect, shake hands before, after the game? Now with the COVID-19, we shall not want to be shaking hands, but how do we deal with adversity? Okay, what's our attitude like, our mentality? Okay, especially when we are losing, when things are not going our way. We have the red card. And you will see from the videos I'm going to show at the end that I'm going to stick to the positive side, and you will see how players react when things are going well. But it could be worse. But how do they handle themselves? So this is critical to you as a coach, as one of the four pillars to be able to have a good handle on. Now, how do we try to build this relationship, this rapport? Okay, between players, you could encourage unstructured play, what we call the street soccer kind of a deal, unsupervised. Allow the players to have their own rules and play among themselves. And most importantly, as a coach, you could have team events that are not related to soccer. If you coach in college or high school, it could be preseason. If you coach in the youth level, at the youth level, it could be just taking them out for a birthday party for one of the teammates. Everybody go there as a team, or having the birthday party on the pitch. So there's several things that you as a coach can do, certainly, to help build this rapport amongst your players. Now, looking at the sample of ages and stages for social continuum, again, you can see from 5 all the way to 20-year-olds, some things we cannot hide or deny players. From the 5 to 9-year-old, their top priority is fun and enjoyment. That's what they want. That's why they come out to play. And also, they want support from you as a coach, as well as from their parent. Okay, they want to be involved. Okay, they don't want to sit out while everybody else is playing and they are sitting out. They want to be involved. They want to participate. They like that relationship, and there's no doubt they want to be in a safe environment. Okay, a safe environment where there's no bullying. Okay, a safe environment where they could learn and make mistakes. And as they get older, to the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, now they begin to accept some responsibility. Again, that could differ based on gender. History have shown that on the female side, they accept that responsibility a lot earlier, sooner. They recognize when they have to do more or when they have to take responsibility. As opposed to some of the boys' team, not all boys' team, but some of them don't take responsibility. They probably will want to blame their teammates or other persons. So as a coach, you need to know how to address your players based on gender in that regards. And of course, as they get to the older age group, 16 through 20, they become to develop emotional stability as opposed to when they were younger. Okay, they now will be socially responsible, both on the pitch and off the pitch. They should, at this age, begin to recognize cultural differences between players in their team, on their team, and even the opponents. And they should be able to deal with conflicts, okay, as it arises during practice or in games. Psychologically, same thing. Okay, now we're talking about enthusiasm for the players when they are younger. They like to explore. Okay, they don't like to be bored. They want to always do something. Okay, that falls right in line with what my youngest, she's just 4, going to 5 years old next month. She's always bored. She wants to do something. So for you as a coach, you have to be able to structure your practice sessions to allow for them to be able to explore and progress. Okay, and then as they get older, to the 10 to 14, 15-year-olds, psychologically now, the self-concept and awareness begin to manifest. Again, the idea of taking responsibility. Again, that could differ based on gender. Okay, they begin to set goals and have confidence in themselves. Okay, and as they get older, through 20 years old, 16 to 20, their life skills will begin to develop. Okay, their temperament will be stable. You know what to expect from little Mike or from Mike every time he comes to practice. They begin to understand themselves and understand their teammates. They begin to understand their environment. They'll begin to understand that they are part of a club, not just a team. Okay, so this is crucial. And for us as coaches, we have to know these things occur, and they should occur in our practices. Lastly, on the 4 pillars is the physical. Most people will say fitness. That's fine. But what is it? I define it as the game fitness, not just fitness, because there are some really, really fit athletes out there, that does not make them good soccer players, right? So when we talk about fitness, we're talking about soccer fitness, game fitness. With that in mind, some basic soccer movements become very crucial, very crucial. And you will see from the video that we're going to watch, you will see that some of the things I have listed here would occur. And for you as a coach, you should be able to put your players in practice in an environment where they can practice turns with or without the ball, with pressure or without pressure. Okay, you should be able to put them in those environments. Body strength. May not have to use the gym, depending on the age of your players, but just using the body weight to build some strength, body strength, is critical in soccer. And you will see also in at least one of the clips you're going to see down the road, it's how players can use their body strength, their arm, to create space, 1 or 2 yards, half a yard of space between themselves and the opponent to be able to make decision with the ball. Agility. Again, this is something that it's needed. And for you as a coach, you have to find a way to introduce that in every and recognize that in every of your practice. And my hope is that you will see those occur in the short clip that I'm going to show. Speed, balance, those are key. Many a times we tell our players, especially the younger age groups, we want them to run fast or we want them to dribble through 5, 6, 7 cones without first checking if they can actually stand on one foot balanced. So they have to be able to do all that before you can go full blast, speed, twist and turn, and do all the things that would normally occur in the game. And the idea is for you as a coach, it doesn't matter what your topic is for that day, that the 4 pillars is presented. And not only present in your practice, but they are connected. They're not in isolation. So look at this continuum, okay? Just like we've done in the other pillars, and you can see the list. You see the list of things that should occur for players that are 10 and younger. Okay? We're talking about agility, balance, coordination, okay, speed, gliding, buoyancy, okay, ability to catch, pass, kick, running, jumping, throwing, and you can see the list goes on and on and on. Then as they get older, their aerobic development begins to increase. Okay? And again, this could differ in terms of the puberty, gender to gender, individual to individual. Okay, and of course, as they get older, you can see the list of things that you begin to experience. Increase in strength, increase in power, okay, muscle mass gain. As soon as they hit 16 and older, you begin to see those things. Okay, improved in recovering time. All those things are things you begin to see as they get older. And the videos you're going to see will be for mostly 16, 17-year-old players. This will be the U.S. under-17 national team at the World Cup. And we're just going to break it down and see how we can identify these 4 pillars in this very short clip. It's a very short clip. For you as a coach, if you're there, I hope you are typing in your questions. Let me take a look and see if we have any typed in using the chat button. Okay, I don't see any just yet. Okay, and if you're writing it down, write down your questions. You can also email those to me later on. That's fine. So let's take a look at this short clip. And in your mind, if you have a pen and paper there, just try to see if you can identify the four pillars in this short game. Okay, here we go. Okay, like I said, it's quite a short video there, and I'm going to play this again because I know some of you are already thinking, I can see this again real quick. I will play it again. Again, don't forget, if you have questions, you can type it using the chat button. So I'm going to play this again and see if you can identify the four pillars there. Technique, tactics, physical or game fitness, psychosocial or psychological aspect of the game. They are all interlinked, and let's watch it again. Taking notes to come up with your own little short clips or idea of what you have seen and the four pillars in that short clip. Now, I'm going to show you mine. And again, don't forget it's mine. And then you can compare with yours. Or maybe you can take a second look at what I just came up with and see how you like it or what you would change. Again, don't forget these are mine. You can come up with your own. It's okay. Okay? And don't forget that the four pillars are connected. And the clips I'm going to show you now that I got from that game you just watched will show that. Will show the connectivity between those four pillars in a game. And that could also occur in practice in your scrimmage. It should also occur. But it takes a coach with that knowledge to be able to identify it. Okay, so now on the technical side, I came up with two clips. Okay, both of them involve the Tim Ware. Okay, that I just talked about, the son of George Ware. Okay, so let's watch the first one, and then we'll talk about it just briefly before we move to the second one. So let's watch. Okay, now Tim Ware may have scored, but let's watch again and take a look at the pass coming from the right flank. Let's look at that pass, not just for the technical proficiency, but for the time that pass was made it possible to take out not one, not two, but three defenders to locate the forward who finished nicely. So I'm going to play that short clip again. Watch the technique. Not just the technique is good, but the time he made that pass, which is now tactics, which is decision making, they are linked for that to result in a goal. So let's watch again. If he had made that pass 2 seconds earlier or 2 seconds late, this would have not happened. So let's watch again. And you see that? Okay, so when we talk about connecting the pillars, that's a typical example of connecting technique with tactics. Now let's watch the second one. Now, I froze this second one, okay? I froze this one because Team Wear on the left-hand side of the pitch have how many options, coaches? I know you can respond. He has 3 options. He has 3 options to pass the ball. 3 players open. One of them is the number 11. He has his hands up, both hands. He's open, nice and wide open to receive the ball. Team Wear has to make a decision because he has the technical proficiency, he has the technical skill. Let's see what he decided to do. Fantastic technique there, using the inside of the foot, not the laces, the inside of the foot to coil that ball, knowing fully well the goalkeeper have cheated. The goalkeeper cheated to his right, exposing the top left corner, and he placed it there. So again, that is a typical example of what we talk about technical proficiency at the highest level. Tactics. Okay. Here I also have 2 clips. Again, don't forget, you can always come up with yours in any game situation, right? Here are the 2 that I picked. And it's similar to the one you just watched. Okay. And don't forget, again, when we talk of tactics, we're talking about understanding the where and the when. Where am I on the pitch? Am I on the defensive third, middle third? Or am I at the final third? And for you as a coach, how do you improve this in your players? You use the small-sided games, functional training, to enhance this in your players. Okay? So let's watch the first one. Now, again, same clip like you saw earlier. I paused it. Team Wear with the ball. He has a pressure on him, right? When we talk about technique, tactical decision making, he has, again, 3 clear chances, 3 clear ones. Maybe any of those 3 would have been fine. Who knows? But as a very good player, he realized where he is on the pitch. He noticed where the goalkeeper were, and he has the ability, and he made a decision to go it alone. On the second clip, the midfielder has the ball in front of him. As you can see, I paused it there. What does he have in front of him? Now, he's thinking, where am I on the pitch? Okay, I'm in the attacking third, approaching the attacking third, coming from the midfield, right? And he has no pressure in front. There's certainly pressure behind. So he has 3 options. When we talk about tactical skills, we're talking about decision making. That player with the ball has decision to make. 1, can I go alone? Can I finish? Or should I pass? Who should I pass to? Now, let's see the decision that he makes. And then we'll analyze to see if that was a good decision. So I'm going to finish up, let it roll. He decides to go into the middle. And thank you very much. Good finish. Okay? So again, when we talk about decision making, this is the environment we need to create for our players, for them to be able to analyze when they have the ball. Where am I on the pitch? And then what is the right decision for me to do? And what should I do with the ball? Okay. Physical. Again, we've talked about physical. We've talked about the game fitness, right? All right. I have two clips here that will show that. Based on the age of your players, you may not have to deal with the physical strength. But this clip is with the U17 US national team. So I chose the one that dealt with physical strength, just a little bit of physical strength, how much advantage you can gain from that. Okay. And I also chose it because it had some basic physical movement skills. Okay. And you will see it here. And for you as a coach, you have to be able to analyze the frequency of this movement, the intensity of your game, your practice, the duration of your practice on your activities to bring all this game fitness to the standard that you really want. So let's watch these two clips. Again, you will see that all four pillars from all four videos that I've shown so far, they are all connected. Let's see the first one. Now, I'm going to go back. Watch and see how the midfielder with the ball now, how he separated himself from the pressure, from the defender. He used his body strength with his arm to get the players away from him to create the space he needs to be able to advance the ball into the final third. So let's watch the first clip again. Just watch. Watch. See that? Little check. And now he has the space to make that pass. And then we finished. Okay? Now, same with the second video. You will see this player use his body strength to checkmate a defender to create just enough space for him to be able to cross the ball. So let's watch. Okay, let's watch again. Right here. Okay, right there. Just the ability to use his body strength to separate himself from that defender gave him the little time that he needs to cross that ball. And when we talk about fitness and technique, watch how, I believe that the sergeant, how he received that ball so gently within that tight space with his technical ability and then his physical skill to turn with the ball. Let's watch and see how he was able to turn and then pass that ball to the midfielder coming in who was able to finish. So now watch this turn away from the defenders, and thank you very much. So as coaches, you have to be able to identify those in your practice. You have to be able to identify those in your games. And you have to be able to encourage your players and say, well done, son. Well done. I like it. I like the way you were able to turn away from that defender to create space for yourself. That is one of the four pillars of soccer, the physical aspect of it. Okay, let me see if we have any question using the chat button here. I don't see any. And I think we have a pretty good size here that I can open up for question in a few minutes, in a few seconds here, rather. Psychosocial. Again, I have two clips. One of them is from the same game that you just watched. Same game. Okay? And this is basically showing that players enjoy fun environments with their friends, regardless of the age, regardless if it's in the game or if it's in the practice session. Okay, I think somebody's trying to get in. Requesting a rotation. Sure. So again, players like to enjoy a fun environment with their friends. Okay, players' reactions to wins or loss is critical. Do they respect everybody, even when they are winning? Do they respect everybody, even when they are losing? For this presentation, I'm going to choose clips for teams that are winning, how they interact with their teammates, with their coach, and with the fans, the referee. Coach's reaction, okay? Coach's rapport with players. We all have seen Liverpool, Klopp. No, everybody in the world knows that is a coach with a very good relationship and good rapport with his players. Regardless if they win or not, he's got a very good way of encouraging his players, shaking hands, hugging players, even when they lose. And he does that also with the player, with the opposition, with the opponents. So that's something for you as a coach that you have to deal with as one of the four pillars of soccer. You have to be able to deal with conflicts within your team or outside. We know of players that are very controversial, like Balotelli and the rest of them, right? How do you handle those? Okay, do we learn from mistakes? Okay, so I'm going to show this clip of the US under 17 to round up tonight and just show how they celebrate their goals. What kind of reaction does the players have with those on the bench, to the fans and everybody else? A very short clip. Then the second clip, it's an external clip of players celebrating when they win or when they score a goal. Okay, so let's see this. This is the US under 17 celebrating after a goal. I'll play again, and you can see there that the relationship with the players on the pitch and those not on the pitch, because you can see that they are all coming together to celebrate. That's to tell you, even if they are on the bench, the relationship between the players playing and the ones on the bench, it's good. And we'll see that again real quickly here, and then we'll finish up with the last clip. And you can see those from the bench coming in to celebrate with the team. Last clip for you here before I open it up for questions. That's it for tonight's presentation on the four pillars of soccer. I hope you got something out of this. The intent is not to reinvent the wheel, but to reinforce what you already know. Many of you as coaches are already doing this, but to reinforce it. And if you have not been, but now you know what to look for. You know what to look for, not just in games, but also in practice. For this presentation, I chose games, the US game, but it could happen in practice, in your scrimmage as well. Okay? And I'm going to go back to the chat, and I think I have something from Dominic. Terry, I believe it's the last goal where the player is fouled and the ref played advantage. It's a great example of psychological development, in my opinion. The boys don't complain and took advantage of it. Fantastic, Dominic. You're right. Absolutely. You're 100% right. So if you have more questions, guys, my email is on the screen there. You can send it to me personally and I will answer it. But Dominic, again, you are 100% right. And I will try to see if I can unmute. I can unmute you guys and hopefully we can take questions if anybody has one. We have about a few more minutes here to go. And just for the record, the next free webinar will be June 5th. I will send you guys an email of the topic, and it's going to be 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in America. I know we have some coaches here from Africa, looking at the attendance list here, that are present here. So same time, next Friday, June 5th, will be the next free webinar. And I will end recording at this time.